And John, I know we want to talk a little bit more of the, I want to say, rumors and buzz coming out of Summer League, including the hype around Kyrie. And we're going to get to that in just a minute. But I did want to throw a couple of other nuggets here from Keith Smith's article on Celtics blog. The big one, they expect Gordon Hayward to be 100% for training camp, but they're obviously going to take it slow with all of the vets. Another thing they talked about was making sure that plenty of rest during the season, but there is a concern about playing time for other players or the players that are used to getting their shots, etc. So keep that in mind for the Kyrie conversation. They also said, thankfully, Al Horford and Aaron Baines aren't really concerned so much about shooting or getting their shots, so to speak. I am a little bit with Al. Definitely want to see him being a threat from beyond the arc and spreading out that defense. But lots of other things. They said Semi Ojeleye in over his head, and some good nuggets on Jabari Bird, and obviously the one on Yabusele that we talked about. But let's really just dive right in to the Kyrie Irving coming back next season. Couple of things I'll use to tip it off with Keith Smith's article, basically saying ignore that noise about Kyrie not liking it in Boston and being jealous of the attention the kids get. This particular team and the chemistry, they're closer than any team I can remember. Another one that they're hoping he'll come back, Kyrie, I mean. But a year is a very long time in the NBA. Lots can change. And really basically explaining why somebody wouldn't do an extension today, which is it costs them money. So on that noise, a lot of people not very comfortable with Kyrie or thinking he'll come back, putting a lot of credence into the buzz that he'll go to the New York Knicks because of some weird offhanded rumor out of Cleveland from some time ago. And yet it still gets legs, lots of buzz on this. And my thought is, at the end of the day, when this contract runs out, the Celtics could give him the most amount of money in an extra year. And for a guy that's struggled through knee injuries, if the Celtics want him, he's got to take that money. And I think that's going to be his decision. I'd say I'm 90% certain he comes back, provided the Celtics don't trade him and still want him, which I think they will. I don't see why they wouldn't. But I'm just saying I think it would have to change on the Celtics side for him not to stay.
I think that you look at right now, as things stand right now, it's hard to see that there are other scenarios out there that would be better for Kyrie than what would be that's presently available. The comment that Keith Smith came up with, they said a year is a very long time in the NBA. I mean, I think a year ago we had some sense that LeBron might go to LA. But, probably 2 months before that, it might have seemed completely crazy. So there's a lot of these things that things move very fast. The Houston Chris Paul thing was, happened in an instant. And I think there's some tea leaves right now. People are reading with Kevin Durant and the potential that he may want to get out of Golden State and not being happy there and wanting to look for something else. We certainly know that Durant and Kyrie have been close, and there's a very real line you can draw there between what Kevin Durant wants to do and wanting Kyrie to come along with him. But having said all that, there's a lot of things that have to go just so for those situations to break in that favor. You could look at where we were a year ago and think, well, Chris Paul and LeBron, they'll get together and they'll go to LA together, or Paul George. There's a lot of things that could happen, but the most likely thing is for probably people to stay right where they are. And you look at where Kyrie's going to be. He's going to go to the finals. I think we all hope that, but I think there's a very good chance of that. The kids around him are just going to get better. There's going to be opportunity for Gordon Hayward to improve. He's going to be able to rest and be strongest when he's needed most in the playoffs. I mean, it's all lines up perfectly for him. There's no better scenario right now other than doing just that. If he wants to be a mercenary, go to New York, have Kevin Durant come with him and try to make that work. That is an option on the table for him. But I'm not sure. Kyrie's a different guy. I think we all know that, but that just doesn't seem to be as much of a sure thing as, you know, perhaps taking an NBA finalist or Eastern Conference finalist and continuing that with the natural development within of a guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. It just seems like more of a sure thing for Kyrie's career going forward.
Yeah, not only does it seem like more of a sure thing, but it's the best bet for him to have the wins and the winning experience. It's not. I get what you're saying too, but the contract money's there, etc. Here's the only thing I wonder about, and I don't think he's said enough times that money isn't everything. But if he did go to New York, whatever that difference is from what the Celtics can pay over 5 years versus what New York can pay at a max deal over 4 years. Maybe the shoes end up covering all of that money, right? Just the advertising, the sponsorship dollars. It's not the only consideration here. But the downside is that gamble means you might go play for a franchise and only be barely competitive. And that's and yes, I'm sure he'll still sell shoes, but man, he's selling shoes being in Boston. That guy is a shoe selling machine anyway. So I'm not sure the major market matters. And maybe, you know, I have no idea, but I can't imagine that at the pace that he's on. I mean, he's just in the stratosphere with shoe sales. I can't imagine that he needs to go to New York to actually raise the income from that scenario. I think the best thing for him is to be on the stage playing against the Warriors. And if they actually, and this is the guarantee, they beat the Warriors next year, he's not going anywhere, because that brand and his beating the Warriors, the unstoppable, undefeatable, crazy, awesome team that, you know, we thought Houston might give them a run this year, and it's unfortunate they didn't, but they're not going to be in any better position next year, in my opinion. So with that, you know, being said, now this is his best chance. If they were to punch the bully in the mouth, to quote KG, if they were to punch the bully in the mouth, he's definitely not going anywhere. But if they even feels like there's a good shot at getting him the next year, then it would just be silly not to come back, because playing the most games possible on the biggest stage just helps you continue to sell shoes.
Absolutely. And, you know, remember when he signed his deal, he was in Cleveland. So you want to, I mean, yes, he was on the stage, but if there's any cachet that's added, going to Boston certainly helps a great deal. Being the, you know, signature player in that regard helps an even greater amount. I mean, he right now, he's on an $8 million a year deal with Nike, the same amount that Giannis is making. I can tell you, as the dad of and the coach of a whole bunch of 11, 12-year-old boys, basketball players, the Kyrie is the shoe that they're wearing. They're not wearing LeBrons. They're not wearing, a couple kids wearing LeBrons, but most kids they're looking to Kyries because they look the best. They're easy to put on, and they fit the styles these kids are wearing now. And so if I'm Nike, would I feel like I'm going to sell some more shoes if I'm in New York? Maybe. You know, it seems to me you're a megawatt star no matter what you do. Maybe in the New York market you have more influence, but in the NBA and the global game that it is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you are. You're in Cleveland, you're in Oklahoma City. Durant signed his deal with Nike when he was at Thunder. I mean, what's the cachet of the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Boston Celtics, right? Give me a break. So I'm more concerned with the guys talking. I think the money, I think you're right. The money is negligible. I think it's, hey, come play with me. Hey, the stuff with,
Jimmy Butler.
I worry more about
Jimmy. Do you think there's any legitimacy to the Jimmy Butler thing?
I think there is, but I don't think, one, the Celtics would want to get Jimmy Butler, given what they have now. And two, I don't think Jimmy Butler is enough to steal Kyrie Irving to go somewhere else. Kevin Durant, that's a different story. That's the one that worries me. And then I'm on your side of hating Kevin Durant.
Oh, is that all it'll take?
That's what that'll take it. I'll be, if we're doing a show July 4th, 19, and we're talking about that, I'll be ready to
fantasizing about this. That would be the ultimate burn, right? We get Al Horford, we're all excited. Tom Brady's wearing really weird white pants, gets on a plane, goes and meets with Durant as part of the Celtics contingency. They lose out. The next year we trade for Kyrie. We sign Gordon Hayward. We're building our super team. And then Kevin Durant winds up single-handedly unraveling our plans. At that point, I'm hoping we're keeping Terry Rozier, and that scary Terry gets super scary.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, that's the plan B, right? Is that you get Terry Rozier and you get, hopefully at that point Smart's unrestricted and you sign both, and you go from there. I mean, there is a plan B. It's not nearly as good. I don't see that happening. Like you said, I'm in the 90-10 camp. I think there's 90% chance that Kyrie's coming back. Will he look at it? Will he be intrigued? We all know he questions everything, so he's not going to follow the color by number approach. He's going to do whatever the hell he wants to do. But I think he's going to look at the situation he has with the coach, the players he's playing with, and he's going to value that over an unknown in New York or somewhere else with possibly Durant. I don't see any other scenario other than Durant, New York, that could possibly take Kyrie away. And even then, you've got James Dolan, who's the owner there. You've got a coach that, Fizdale, we'll see. He didn't, there wasn't enough there for him to stick in Memphis, and they fired him. So Memphis is its own issue, but New York isn't exactly any great shakes either. So I'm feeling very good about the Celtics scenario in keeping Kyrie Irving here.